like to call a meeting to order, Jackson County Commission Work Session, October 2018. First, we'll have a roll call. Mr. Manning, if you would, please.
Yes, sir. District 1, Mr. Guppy.
Present.
District 2, Mr. Bethel.
Present.
District 3, Ms. Gilbert.
Present.
District 4, Mr. Sis. Present. Chairman present.
Thank you, Mr. Manning. Now we'll have the invocation by Mr. Jeff Arnold.
Let's pray. Our gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we thank you for this day. Lord, we thank you for all your blessings on us. Lord, we thank you for the wonderful weekend that we had. Lord, we just pray that you just bless this meeting tonight. Lord, I pray for this commission. Lord, I pray that you touch their minds and their decisions. Lord, I just pray that you just help us to be the greatest county we can. Lord, in everything we do, I pray that you help us to give honor and glory to you. It's in Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. And if you would, join Mr. Venable with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we'll have the approval for the agenda for today's meeting, October 1, 2018. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I think I will say.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Next, we have public comment from citizens. Chuck, do you want?
Yes, I would like to know where we stand on the private security being used. Because that's going to, I've got 3 employees that's going to lose a job, and I've got one opening right now that I can move one of them into. But I'm going to tell you right now, I am totally against it because these guys keep me from having to pull a car off the road. When somebody walks in with a complaint, they take care of it. When the courts need someone, they take care of it. When somebody comes in we've got a warrant on, they take care of it. Now, if they're not here, I've got to pull somebody off the road. Last week, we had trips to prison. I had 2 cars on the road the whole day. So one of them would have to come in and do what these guys do. If you're going to have security, they need to be deputized security. And I'm just saying, I'm totally against y'all doing away with them. And I would like to know where we stand as far as y'all going to implement private security.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind speaking first on it.
You want Judge Hope to speak first?
Well,
and then-
you know, I would just like to join in with the sheriff and state that our security plan that's in place, that's been approved by the security committee, that's been approved by the commission, provides that deputies will man the doors. And the resolution that you passed says that you will fully fund that plan. That plan has not been changed. And looking at your budget from last, I guess it was a week or 2 ago, the budget makes it appear that you are not funding that plan, that you are going with a contract service, and that is concerning because the plan has not been changed as of this date. So my request would be that you move delete the contract service funds, or at least reduce it to like you have in previous years, it being $15,000, and put the funds back to the salaries and wages of the deputies that have been working security.
You want to address it?
Yeah, I think it was a lot of misunderstanding. When we had a budget hearing, we discussed it, we only had 1 quote. So with the constraints of having to get the budget passed, we prorated it 3 months. Prorated it 3 months just to give us time to meet with the security committee. And then, once we met with the security committee, if everybody agreed, then we would just take the steps to go further. And if we couldn't, we would do a budget amendment and put it back like it was. That was the intent, but I think it got blown out of proportion, and some people said some things about it that weren't true, but at no time did we ever, as this body, ever agreed to, fire anybody or let anybody go or hire a private firm until we went through the proper steps.
That's not what was told me when I met with Bob and Mike in here the other day. I was told that $90,000 was going toward private security. That's why I got aggravated about it.
Well, there's a misunderstanding.
Nobody has talked to me about anything to do with security other than the words, we're kicking around some numbers.
Yeah,
That's all that was said to
we
me.
got full intention of having a meeting just on courthouse security.
Okay, y'all need to bring stuff up like that before everybody gets mad about it, you
And we
know?
have got to reduce the cost of courthouse security, however we do it. And there's a couple of other issues that we need to work out that deal with courthouse security. But that needs to be in one meeting.
Well, y'all understand, I work with a skeleton crew, and these guys take a lot off these road deputies.
These employees right here, I was kinda, I guess, not happy with the circumstances that Michelle told me out here. I guess it was last Monday when we came in, and Barry said he'd stop at the Chevron station, and he heard he was gonna be without a job. And, after Michelle telling me, I walked down there and talked to both of them, and I said, hey, there is talk about us putting in a security system with 3 employees. And I said, the thing about it is the savings for the taxpayers. Nothing against anybody. Well, Mr. Munzo, he said, I got a 15-year-old son.
No, I don't have a 15-year-old son.
Tally, I'm sorry for the name. And I said, well, I'm hoping neither one of you gonna be without a job. I said, I'm hoping Chuck can place you somewhere. I said,
Y'all gonna give me the money? I can.
well, I mean, that's the thing where we're at though, the same situation. And I said, I'm hoping neither one lose their job. I said, but when it comes sitting around that table, make decisions, I said, it's hard. It's hard. And when you turn down $70,000 for the difference of employees being here, you've gotta look at that. Because we're held responsible for all this right here. And I
And
said,
I'm held responsible for answering these calls out here. If I don't have deputies, they're down here at the courthouse
Right.
doing something, and they're not out on the road where they belong, I'm held responsible
Yeah.
for that. So that's why I'm here.
well, like
It's
I told
actually not a
the
$70,000
judge,
I'd like to say, if you're gonna start cutting, the last place you should go would be security. Protection for your
Well, since we're
citizens.
crunching numbers, can I say something?
yes, sir.
What'd you do with the $43,680 that I let y'all keep in my pay for 3 years when I cut my pay down from full pay to $9 an hour? What'd you do with that money? Did you even know you had it?
I didn't,
You didn't?
no, sir.
Sounds like to me someone's not crunching the numbers right.
And Chuck, as far as what me and Bob told you, now, if nothing was cut and dried at that time, we told you what the savings would be.
Well, I'm like Judge Holt. When you read it on paper and it says what it says, you can pretty much
And in that,
see what's
when
going
we
on.
just, like I told Judge Holt a while ago, we changed that budget 4 times last Monday. We was under the gun to get it done. We logged those numbers in with the understanding that it could be changed.
Mr. Chairman,
We
could I
could
address?
amend the budget, in other words.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, could I
Yes,
address?
go ahead.
The way we budgeted, just to clarify for everyone, we budgeted 3 months' worth at the current 3 that is scheduled on the door right now, 9 months at a contractor rate. And that was to give us 3 months to come to a determination on this. That also was what was taken into consideration at that time. There was 1 opening, I think, and I believe Bart was fixing to be leaving at the end of the year to take the circuit clerk's job, which would be another opening. That's why that came up during this time frame, because we knew there was 2 openings right there. So that was what brought the discussion on. And then as far as the way we budgeted 3 months at 3 people that's currently charged to the door, and 9 months at security rates, which can be amended.
And if no change is made, it'll be amended just like it was.
I guess we have to sit and wait and see.
And we're,
Well,
And Judge Holt, you were talking about the 20,000 in contract services. Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, but that is not contract people. That is more of the uniforms and things like that.
Oh,
that fell into a
that's copy
shortfall.
machines.
Yeah, that was a shortfall from last year
No,
that we
no,
anticipated.
they
I think it was for-
are-
But I mean,
More
it's
than
their
this year.
fill-ins too, but the increase in that was not, she's thinking, or she made the comment such as move it back into the sheriff's fund where it belongs into the regular payroll. That's not what it was. It was anticipated we had a shortfall because of illnesses, Bart maybe have taken a leave for his situation, things like that is why that money was put in contract services, am I correct?
Well, contract services does have some for that coverage in there.
But that was the increase.
Well, this year, the 90,000 is a combination of like 85,000 for the contract services for 9 months and 5,000 to cover the times that they'll have off time between, in the first 3 months of the fiscal year.
Okay.
Because it runs about 12 to 15,000 for contract services to cover their off time.
Well, she had mentioned 20,000, and I know that's where we bumped up because we
Yeah.
had shortfalls.
12,000 in contract services in 2017, 15 contract services in 2018, and 90,000 for 2019.
Well, part of that, like I said, was a bump up because we had a shortfall. So it's not all anticipated in the proration that he was talking about.
Let
And
me add
instead of
something.
the salaries being $121,867 from the 2018 budget, it was reduced down to $25,816. So that's what told me that it appears that it's a done deal. Like I was hearing the rumors through the courthouse, it's a done deal. We're going contract services.
I hate to take that out like that, that was never our intention.
Chuck, this commission has agreed to wait till after the election to have a safety committee meeting, not a safety, but a security meeting, in case there's a different person sitting here. So nothing has been done other than a quote's been done. That's all that's been done.
Well, things need to be explained, I guess, a little better,
And
because
they
like
should.
Judge Holt, it looks to me like on paper it's done.
But they have agreed to wait till after the election, and then everybody that's on that security committee will get together. Whether a change has been made or not, it's not been determined.
Another thing too, on the payroll section of that budget for the last 2 years and this year also, that's in relation to who is on the door and their pay level. So some years we've had a senior person on the door, and those years the payroll costs are higher than this particular year. So that fluctuates based on who is charged to the door. And the 2 years you were talking about would have been, we had a senior level person, one on the door probably during all of those 2 years.
So this year, there should be a very big reduction in
Well,
that.
that's the three that
Because
are in.
Bart's leaving, Barry's not gonna have to lay out as much as he was sick, and,
That-
We're looking at
we're not gonna have the part-timers in here near as much as we used to.
See, that's numbers we floated around and anticipated all the way through, and like he said, we changed the budget how many times that last day?
4 times.
But you can't anticipate what ifs,
I
so
understand
that's
that.
part of it.
Well, what is it about the part-time security that y'all don't like?
It ain't something we can discuss
If
here.
they get hurt, the workman's comp issue?
Yeah, it ain't really something we need to discuss here, but it don't have anything to, we don't like it. It's just we got brought up from HR that there need to be some changes on don't have anything to do with y'all.
No,
It has to do with the outside contractor coming in. That's coming in right now, the way they're being done. We're just gonna have to look at a different way of doing that.
So I think we've all had our say, and it's understood that safety committee is gonna be, the security committee is gonna meet sometime after November 6th, and more can be hashed out at that time.
So do I understand that no one on the commission has already decided that we're going to contract?
as I explained for myself, as I explained to you and to Chief Deputy Harden, I have not made my mind up. I have told you I would listen to every argument, every concern that both the sheriff's department and you had before I make a total decision on my behalf.
So right now, we have for the year, security provided by the sheriff and pursuant to the plan.
For 3 months.
And is everybody in it for 3 months?
Well, it's 3
Well-
months until we get the other people on board. We know his chair is going to change, for sure.
Well,
We're
it's a
not
month.
sure about his, and then this one's going to change. So
I'm
do I also
gonna make a
vote?
motion next week to put it on the thing to go back to the way it was until we can meet with the committee and have everybody agree. So we don't need to do anything that's out of line. I mean, just, we want everybody to agree, make sure it's done the right way.
Well, I appreciate that.
And we have got to see some type of reduction in it.
Yeah.
In order to sustain
the 3% raises that we gave out. I mean, we have to see some reduction in order for us to have a balanced budget in 2020, so.
And I talked to Judge Hope before the meeting, and we got some ideas on that too, and that's something we need to talk about when we go forward, is what we can do to do this.
Okay, if we would, let's move forward. Okay, next is discussion items for the commission. First item is the Hr Lease Agreement. Myself and Mr. John Porter met with representative from DHR, Mr. Stephen Tandy, who is the Assistant Attorney General over Legal Services for DHR with the state of Alabama, and Randall Beasley, who is CPA. And we discussed what we had earlier in a work session about the amount of rent per square foot that we had proposed to them. Mr. Beasley, the CPA, told me that any entity like a commission or a city that houses the DHR, basically throughout the state, pays $1 a square foot. And I'm glad Mr. Porter's here. We're just getting on DHR billing in case I missed something. As I just said, Mr. Beasley with the CPA stated that any entity within the county, any counties of the state of Alabama pays the $1 a foot fee. The only negotiable part of this is if we take on the maintenance of the building or partial maintenance of the building. That is the only negotiable part that they have. They understand that with a 30-day letter, they would have to vacate if we couldn't come to terms. Mr. Tandy had a memorandum of understanding he wanted me to sign, which would pay for 5 months' rent on that bigger rent check that they sent us. I didn't sign it. I said, I'm not a voting member unless it's a tie. I'd have to bring that before the commission. I said, what I'm doing here is to try to negotiate a rental. And I said, the reason we sent the higher rent is that we didn't hear from him. He corrected me and said he had been in contact with Mr. Porter every week. And I excused myself for that comment. I said what I should have said, that we weren't getting any negotiations, so we sent the invoice and it got paid. They're wanting an MOU signed saying that that'd take care of 5 months lease. And that's basically it.
But we've been handling the maintenance.
They've been doing the maintenance, and they told Mr. Porter and myself that they would get figures together of what they had been putting in as maintenance, and that's supposed to be forthcoming from Mr. Beasley, the CPA with the state.
Right.
And my suggestion is that we table this, not put it on next work session. Let's get these numbers and put it on the next work session.
I agree with that.
I agree with that. I would say the numbers that they have for the maintenance, for the last few years anyway. And, that $5 a square foot was with no maintenance. So, we want
Their argument.
maintenance. What do they pay on other municipalities and counties? Did they tell you that? If they pay, other than the $1, I mean, in places where they don't have any maintenance or any,
Where they don't have any maintenance, it's supposedly $1.
Where they keep all the maintenance, it's $1 everywhere.
Yeah.
Where maintenance is split somehow,
Yeah.
they negotiate that. And he talked $5, $8. I mean, he was talking, depending on, the more maintenance we assume, the higher the rent. The less maintenance we assume, the less the amount of rent. So that what we were able to get from them was that they will negotiate those things.
But they will not negotiate the $1 where they do all the maintenance.
Sounds like it's gonna be a long and rocky road.
Yeah.
And then they went on to say, that the state of Alabama, when that building was built, paid the bond. And after that time, we assumed in the 15 years, now that we
Well,
won't pay.
this is the
That was
third.
15, and then they
Yeah.
had $1 a square foot rent for 10 years. So
They were saying we hadn't
25
had
years.
anything in the building from day one.
we have.
No, but if you want to mention the state, we've been out a whole lot taking care of the state.
I explained to Mr. Tandit that, you know, the financial situation the county was in, we were just looking at ways to raise revenue.
Exactly. That's the
And
whole purpose.
he said, well, you know, he understood the county maybe being needy when it comes to money. I said, but even in the real world, if we had plenty of money, $1 a square foot still low anywhere. So basically, that was the information.
We'll look at some more information.
I got some figures there today, but I won't announce them tonight, but we'll look at what you said, Mr. Chairman, move forward with those, we'll present these later on.
There's no objection, we'll put this on next work session. Next is vacant HMT1 position, we have two. Mr. Campbell, if you want to elaborate on that, are we needing to advertise for them, or?
The advertisement is ended, and interviews were conducted September 26, 2018, and the committees involved with those interviews have made a selection, and both of those selections are represented, or should be represented on 2 letters, which should be in your packet. There are 2 individuals that that committee has selected for your approval. And this, if approved, this would go forward for next week's agenda.
If there's no objection, I'll place this on the agenda for the next commission meeting. Next, we have SRO contracts, 2. I believe, Mr. Porter, you were going to get contracts for the SRO.
Right, if, I just need to know what the details are, and we'll draft up the contracts and get those done. Shouldn't be a problem.
Should we have any change from last year? It's all right.
No.
Should continue.
Okay, we'll try to get that this next week. If there's no objection, I'll place this on the agenda for the next commission meeting. One-time payment to retirees and beneficiaries. This is a thing that we got from the RSA stating that we had the opportunity to give the retirees and the beneficiaries of retirees one-time pay raise. And this is based on $2 a month that the county employee that was in the SRA system would get $2 a month during their tenure of working, with the minimum being $300 and $300 to the beneficiary. And this would be a one-time payment that we would make to the RSA to make this happen. Is there any further discussion on that? Okay, if there's no objection, I'll place this on the agenda for the next commission meeting. Next is promotion of a MAP employee. Mr. Arnold, I believe this is one where the employee, actually an appraiser, met the qualifications of his work description.
Yeah, it's in our job descriptions. It's not been new, it's been our job description for the past 5 years. Once they have, once the employees are hired in as a mapper or appraiser 1, and they have, it's wrote out in their job descriptions if y'all like to see it, but once he or she has so many years in and has passed X amount of classes, then they're promoted to appraiser 2, and then, you know, once they get 2 or 3 more years in and 2 or 3 more classes, they're promoted to appraiser 3. So this is one of our appraiser 1s. It's his 2 years are in October the 3rd, and he's passed all his classes. So I'm just asking to promote him to the next step.
Okay. If there's no objection, I'll place this on the agenda for the next commission meeting. Next, alcohol sales at Lakeshore Waterfront Rental at Jackson County Park. I was met this morning by an employee of the Clements owners this morning, and they were been in the process of trying to get beer sales, and they were asking for a letter from the commission stating that it has the commission's approval for beer sale. And I said, I don't believe, since I've been here, this has ever been brought up. So,
They're talking package sales?
yes, package sale only to, they buy it there and drink it elsewhere. And,
Does that have anything to do with this? I don't see, if they get the license.
Yeah, we've had this discussion with the city before, because it is in the city limits, but it's county property. So, and last time, we just acceded to the city's authority to grant a license, if that was what the city wanted to do, and did not take a stand on it one way or the other, as I recall what we did.
KC said it.
Yeah, when KC got it, I don't think the commission took any action, as I remember.
Well, it's completely different. Sit down dining.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Versus package sales. I just don't know how I feel about opening up package sales down there.
I don't think we got we can say yea or nay. I don't see how we have the authority, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it should be the city's.
So the store never had package sales? Okay.
so in the licensing procedure, the city sees the adjoining neighbors and see how they feel about it and so on.
They may have to have consent by the landowner.
I think that's where it comes from.
So, I mean, if it gets that far, that may need the consent of the landowner, which would be commission, so.
I think they have gone so far as this is the only thing that they need.
Okay.
And so I told him at the time, that he thought it'd been brought up before.
I've never,
And you were just approached with it this morning?
Yes. So you want to, what is the commission's take on it? You want time to think on this, discuss? You want to move on it, or put it on the next work session?
I prefer we get some information from Scottsboro City and see why they're needing this letter, and then maybe put it on the 15th to talk about it.
I won't be here the 15th. But,
I mean, if you have any objections, we can put it up another.
Yeah, I'd like to get a little more information and see what the next step is. He's came to us for some reason, and like Mr. Porter said, you know, it's probably on county property, the reason it's us becoming involved.
But I want to know the difference, why we didn't have to do it for KC and have to do it for them. And it may be a package first open container.
Well, he went to the city, and the city didn't have one from KC, and I think it's Mr. Cameron came to see you, and you didn't have anything.
I don't care if I'm against it. I mean, that's just not the environment down there that we need package sales. You know, I'm just one vote on the commission, but it's just not something that I.
Is this something that the commission could keep from happening?
You know, I'd have to look, I don't really
That's
think
what
so.
I don't know. That's
think
what I was thinking what Tim was saying, we
Well,
don't.
if they're asking for a letter from the landowner, then, yeah.
I don't really know, because we didn't have to do this,
Right.
because this is the first time we've asked, anybody's asked for package sales, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. And KC's, what they're asking for, KC should have had, because that was county property as well.
Unless the open container and the package law are two different
Could be,
standards.
could be.
I would like more information before I
Yeah,
make
we
a
need
decision.
to, on another work session.
Okay, well, if there's no objection, I'll place this on the agenda for the next work session.
Well, can you make it for the next work session?
Well, then that would be the day, the night before election. Do we have one on that night?
No.
So then that would need to be pushed out to, what did we say earlier?
Elections on the 6th, so it would be the 12th.
That would be a voting session, not a work session.
Yeah, well, it'd be,
So it would have to go to the 19th, which that's fine with me, if you prefer to be in on it.
Whatever y'all want to do, I'm against it. So,
The 19th, I would prefer him to be here,
We'll move this to the work session of the 19th,
November.
November 19th. Next, we'll move on with reports from staff.
We missed number 7.
Which one?
7.
The council.
Jonathan.
Oh, Stu, had the wrong one. Liquid calcium chloride bid.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you all recall, this was a rebid item, an annual bid item that this body elected to reject all bids and solicit bids again for this. So previously, there was one bid. We felt like we could be more competitive if we had more interest and more bidders. This time, there were two bidders, and we had a price return that was roughly 18% cheaper. So that's what led to the letter dated with today's date recommended that item be awarded to the vendor listed in that letter. And I have the previous bids with me tonight if anyone would like to review those.
Okay, now we'll move on to reports from staff. Mr. Manning, do you have anything to note?
No, sir, thank you.
Mr. Campbell, do you have anything further?
No, sir, thank you.
Mr. Arnold?
Yeah, I do got one more thing.
Okay.
First, I'm gonna say I really appreciate you guys giving the employees that 3% raise. I know you guys wanted to do it for several years and just hadn't been able to, and I applaud you for finding a way to do it. And I understand perfectly that you have to have a cutoff somewhere, but I've got two employees. I've got one in the mapping and appraisal office, and I've got one in the revenue office that's got about 5 months. And I know y'all said 6 months was the cutoff. And like I said, I know you gotta cut it off somewhere, but I'm just asking you guys to consider if I pay the difference. I've got a little bit of discretionary money, not much, but it's gonna be about $1,500 in salary for them two employees to get the 3% raise. So I'm asking you, if I pay the difference, would you go ahead and include my two employees? Like I said, they've got not exactly 5 months, but calendar months, they've got 5 months in, and they're just gonna miss. And they seem to be great employees. I don't plan on getting rid of them before their 6 months is up and they could decide not to stay, but both of them's working out great. I look for them to be here a long time, and I just hate for them to miss out on that raise. Just like I said, they've got 5 months in. So just consider it, and I'll, like I said, I'll be happy to pay it out of what little discretionary I got, if y'all consider that. I appreciate it.
Chief Arnold?
No, sir.
Mr. Porter?
I don't have anything.
Okay, we'll hear from the commission now, Ms. Gilbert. Mr. Sis?
I just like to say, the ones that came out tonight, the heads, and to express their point, I can understand their points. I think we did probably fail by not having some meetings and put more involvement in, but sitting around this table is hard, like you said, Mr. Chairman. We changed it 4 times to try to do what was right, and we thought, and we'll look further, and we'll see where we stand. And I want to commend Jonathan for not accepting the bid the first time. I mean, I know it was our duty, but going back and saving that 18% for the county.
Mr. Venable?
No, sir.
Mr. Guffey?
No, sir.
I don't have anything. This concludes everything on today's agenda, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Meeting adjourned.